Every business owner knows that visibility is a core part of creating success in your business. But not all visibility is equal. And that's what we're going to be talking about today on Amplify Your Marketing Message. I am super excited to be introducing to you a good friend, somebody who's been a client, and someone I've collaborated with for many years in the world of business. And he is a visibility strategist. I'm super excited to introduce you all to Mr. Greg Belanger. Greg, welcome to our show today. Can't wait to have this conversation.
Hey, Christine, thank you so very much. Again, as you know, a big fan. I've been following your podcasts, and I'm really honored to be on your show. And really think what I can deliver hopefully will offer value to the right people in the right way.
I think you will. I know it in spades. The right visibility. All right, let's talk about this because, let's talk about online visibility. Like, what is it? What are we shooting for? What's the measure? And why the heck does it even matter in the first place?
Yeah, sure. I'll go. Well, basically, in today's business world, the digital landscape has changed forever how we communicate. And there's no longer, or is it just good enough to be visible online? It's table stakes. So bottom line, what online visibility is really, it's refers to how easily you can get found, or how easy is your business found by internet users. So the easier to be found, the easier you're going to actually go through and be able to do some business. So again, why is that important? Well, these days it's important on several levels. It's just the way people buy now. It's consumer behavior. Just look at your last purchases. How do you purchase? Google stats are 80% of online our purchases have an online research component to it. So bottom line, if your business can't be found, you're missing a whole lot of business. The other one, it gives you a competitive edge, meaning, you can be found before your competitors are going to be found. And it also, when people are searching for you, when they find parts about you, they find out about you online, it builds your credibility and brand. So if I'm going to do a Google search and I see that you've gone on some video podcasts, you've got some online presence, you're on YouTube, you're on Christine's show, you're on LinkedIn and such, it just builds that whole credibility piece, which is all what, again, marketing is designed to do, is to inspire your customers to phone you, get into your octagon where you have a chance to work with them one-on-one.
Yeah, this is such an interesting thing because I think in the world of AI and in the world of digital, where it's not going anywhere, but building trust is even more important. And what I'm hearing from you is saying, not only is it important that you be found, but that you have consistency and that you have a clear place to play. And I love that you say, it's not just one thing. The first thing somebody's going to do when they cross paths with you is, what else have you done? And if you are not found, the first thing someone says is, are you even a legitimate business? And in particular here, one thing Greg and I are both big passionate people about is the B2B space. And if you want to be credible in the world of business, the first thing somebody's going to do is Google you. What will they say? What will they see? And will it get them moving? You have built something I think is really remarkable, and we've been working on this together, and this is a visibility blueprint. Talk to us a little bit about the thought behind why did you feel like the marketplace and your clients needed this? Because we're still having sometimes the conversation of show up online, and people are like, really, do I have to? And you said, not only do you have to, but you have to do it well. Talk to us about this.
Yeah, no, for sure. There's the pandemic has forever changed the way that people's behaviors, especially when it comes to shopping in a business. It's really accelerated the transition to a whole new online video communications platform for everybody. So again, being online it's just table stakes right now. But what's even more critical is you can't just show up online. You got to be online with the right visibility. Okay, and the right visibility means not just being seen, but being seen by the right people, which is your targeted audience, in the right way. Again, positively and professionally, if that's your messaging, and at the right time. So when they're ready to gauge and when they're ready to buy. Okay. So when I talk about blueprint, people get a little confused. I get a little overwhelmed. So I decided to put together a path for them to follow. Um, and you mentioned about showing up online. One of the mantras or the areas I like to stress online. I call it the 4 C's of showing up. One is you need to have content, right? Good content, decent content, content that is valued by your audience. So you need that. You need to be consistently. You got to show up. This is no longer a one and done business. You need to show up. If you've got a regular scheduled type of show where you can show up on, all the better. People like predictability, but you got to show up consistently where your customers are hanging out. And the third C is, I call it community or contacts. You need to build up your community, your audience of engaged people. If you can have the greatest message in the world, but if you're out shouting and nobody's there to listen to, then it's not going to go anywhere. And then the fourth C, and a lot of people miss this, especially in the online world. It's called a call to action. Once you present what you have, what do you want them to do? Do you want them to download something, go to your website, buy a product, just get in contact with you? Tell them what you want to do. Don't leave them hanging. Okay.
I love this 4 C's. God, I love this. Oh.
Excellent. So again, so what the blueprint is all about is it's basically a blueprint and action plan specifically for people like us, business owners, entrepreneurs. And I decided to put it together and make it an easy to follow, practical guide. Bottom line, it's pretty simple. It starts with your why. Why are you doing what you want to do? What do you want to get out of this? Then it gets into who are you going to do it for? Defining your target audience. What problems are you going to solve for them? And then you get into, how are you going to reach them? First, you need a content strategy. Get that plan together. Be consistent with that. The strategy is critical. Too many people are just posting willy-nilly for the sake of posting because they're trying to be Gary Vee and post 1,000 posts a day. It's crazy.
Please stop. You're not Gary Vee.
We're not Gary Vee. We don't have his budget, and well, hey, do what you want. No judgment. I don't think it works for a lot of people. Mm-hmm. So the next aspect is, what platforms are you going to show up on? And again, go back to your target audience. You show up where your clients are going to show up. Are your client, some of your clients, if it's B2B, they may be on Pinterest, they may not. They may be on TikTok, they may not. But pretty much they're going to be on YouTube. They're going to be LinkedIn. They're going to be on Facebook for either business or personal, and they're going to be on Twitter. So Instagram is fast becoming a fan favorite. But when you're looking at those platforms, you're going to be on the platforms, and you have to develop what kind of content is going to be best for the platforms. Are you going to go with articles, blogs, just straight posts? Are you going to get into a video? If you're getting into video, massive uptake and very, very powerful medium, but a long form video is not going to play well on an Instagram or a TikTok. So you just got to be conscious of that. And for that, and then you execute. So again, it's a fairly step-by-step guide, and I walk you through it. But those are the really highlights.
I think is so important for people to know is you need to have a plan. And I think sometimes this is the biggest gap. And you and I've had many conversations about the difference between the first step into visibility and then truly, I am committed to have success with a visibility strategy. Those are two very different places you're playing. The first place, it's, anything is good. And we buy into whether we're following the likes of Gary Vee or the belief that if I simply post content, I'll have clients, which we've discussed here on the platform, is insane. Please stop buying into that. If all of it took was to post on social media to make us a millionaire, we'd all be there already. It takes more than that. And that's where I love where you're coming in with the blueprint, because it isn't just about getting visible. And particularly your expertise is in the video strategy, which is don't just create a video, have a clear plan of what's the movement piece. What is the content? Where are you taking people to? How are you going to be able to be consistent so that you can create that predictability, build that relationship? And I think the piece for sure that we miss, please go audit yourself if you're listening along to us, audience. Did you take an action step and one simple piece of movement? Because the goal is movement. And I love that you have this roadmap and that at any time you're working with your clients, you can say, here's where we are, here's what happens next. This is not a one and done strategy. And when you're choosing to work with a partner to help guide you through the strategy, seek the expert who says, this is what's working in the marketplace. Here's how the pieces come together. And here's how you can stay within a framework so that you can commit to see long-term results. Because I can't tell you the number of times. I think you and I recorded our first video together more than 2 years ago. And we've had a couple of videos together in different podcasts, different episodes together. And people will still say, I saw that video with you and Greg. And I'm like, what video? There was more than one. You don't control when people see something. But that back catalog with a strategy that has consistency and congruency and messaging that moves is actually how you start to see more people picking up the phone and saying, tell me it is more about your blueprint. Tell me more about your business accelerator. Tell me more, because I see you as legitimate. You've been around a while. You seem to know what you're doing, and I can see the success. You have to be your best example of success of your strategy. So you actually build the blueprint with clients and you take them through a visibility action plan. What does that look like? And where do people step in when they're saying, but the last guy just said I just had to create the video. And you're saying, well, okay, let's up the expectation to a video that converts.
Yeah, you know what? Yeah, thanks for that, Christine. Again, everything you just mentioned highlights the fact that you need to be, your message has to be clear. You need to be on multiple platforms, on multiple channels, and the video is going to live on. Done right, it's going to repurpose itself. It gives you a whole lot of different areas to go. So when it comes to an action plan, I really come through and I take you through the steps on where you're at, where do you want to go. And I've got a step-by-step plan to get you there. However, you know, what I've found is it can be a little overwhelming. So the best way to go through and start is to start with just an entry level, very easy video interview. So I've got a show. It's called Top Dog Tips, No BS Business Advice. And I come through and I coach you through to come on a show, be interviewed, go through the process, get comfortable with it, check out what outcomes are going to come with it from, you know, the content that we produce, the repurposing of the content. Where are we going to post it? What's the engagement? And that's a really good first step to see where you're going. Next steps, we get you into potentially get into a couple different other shows out there. The step after that is starting to be guest appearance on different shows, different podcasts. Again, it's a transfer of credibility. There's a whole lot of positive things that come out of that. You know, talking in a minute about, you know, what that is. And then after that, you give you the ability to host your own show, your own video podcast show. Very, very powerful tool for, again, business development, for positioning yourself as a thought leader, as an expert, and really getting some to expand your audience and community. Very, very powerful. So that all leads to, again, how far do you want to go with it? Do you want to get, that leads to speaking engagements, speaking opportunities, the ability to be an author and write your own book. So at the end of the day, it rises you up to be a highly visible expert who has a lot of trust and credibility and sought out by your target audience to work with. They really trust you and want to work with you.
There's an interesting fact here, guys. I was the first ever guest on the Top Dog Sales and Marketing Show. That was, again, one of our fun things that we've collaborated with over the years. But what I think is so important about this, and guys, if you're thinking, how do I get more visibility? I want to invite you to actually connect to Greg about this show. It is a great experience because you're working with a thinking partner who understands the blueprint, who understands not just build once, but build a strategy. And he's saying, start here. You're going to get a guided experience. You're going to get great assets that are highly professional, which is key. And here's the piece which I think most video people are missing in the marketplace, which is why I think MegaPixx is so awesome. It's actually what we do with it. Because doing something is that last C that Greg mentioned in the 4 C's. It is the call to action. We're going to create it, use it to lead people on a journey. And the journey could be built in many ways. Establishing yourself as a unique voice is key. It will call your audience. And we talk about the importance of audience building. This is actually a highly leveraged strategy, which I like, because simply you need to get in front of more people, more ways, more often. This is what I hear is Greg's expertise. It is about the right visibility. It is about the blueprint. It is about having a plan. And here's the other really important piece: distribution. Talk to us for a second, then I want to ask you my last question, but talk to us about the distribution you've been building, because one of the things you observed was we can create the show, but most people don't know what to do with it. So now you've even got a solution on distribution. Talk to us about that.
Yeah, no, thanks for that, Christy. You know what? Again, I recognized again 3 years ago when we were getting online, there's a whole lot of different options, a lot of confusing options on there, and it really bothered me that all these big tech companies, the Facebooks, the LinkedIn, the YouTubes, that these companies owned my content. Okay, so again, if I looked at this as, why am I building a business on somebody else's platform? It's like building a house on leased land. You never own it, that you don't control it. They can always shut it down. So I looked at that, and I worked. We talked with our partners. We decided to create our own platform. Okay, so the platform with the goal of distributing our own content. It's since expanded out, and we made the offer to a lot of other people. But so our platform, it's called MegaPixx Media. It's a business to business video broadcast platform. We broadcast through our assets, our YYC Calgary business, Edmonton business, and these are online business news websites. And we use this as a platform for businesses to get online, get noticed, get their message out in front of thousands of people. And we're doing it through our you can be a guest on one of our shows, or start your own podcast, or simply be a sponsor. So the distribution piece gets your message in front of 10,000 users on YYC Calgary, our 1,500 person newsletter. We've got over 10,000 subscribers on YouTube. What else are we doing? We're on 8 different podcast shows. We're on Twitter, we're LinkedIn. So it's critical. We get you a head start. We get your message out. But the real critical aspect of this whole program, Christine, is the fact that we're creating customized content for you. And to your point, it's critical on what you do with it. So we work with you. We can coach you in terms of what you can do with it. But this is your content. It's your ability to, again, it's your great content. It's your depending on what you do with it, position it consistently, start it to engage and build your community of contacts. And again, most importantly, have a call to action as to what you want people to do with the content once they see it. So that distribution piece is proprietary. We use some of the social media guys, but we're not dependent on these social media guys. They're just another venue for us, another media platform until they change or go away.
I think this is important. And so if you've ever started to consider, as you listen here, to amplify your marketing message, wanting to either be a guest or to get on a show, to create your own platform, there's some really important nuggets from somebody who's been in this industry a lot of years, which is own your story. Really be looking after that foundational blueprint. And then if you're going to create something, be sure you're asking the question distribution. Because if you can jumpstart into somebody else's platform that already has the targeted eyeballs you seek, you will hit the runway running fast, versus building from ground zero. And all of us, to be clear, nobody tells you this, but you all build from zero. But being able to jump frog or leapfrog into that can be hugely advantageous. And it really comes down to separating yourself as the must-hire expert. Greg, the final question I always love to ask all of my guests, and I get a sneak peek of this because we work together, but tell me what you are doing right now to amplify your business. How are you bringing in clients? What's working for you to really create traction in the marketplace?
Well, yeah. Thanks for that. Christine, I drink my own Kool-Aid, if you want. What's really working are video podcast interviews.
Mhm.
So it's like pointing a laser beam directly to your target audience with your marketing message. It allows you to easily align yourself as the go-to authority and helps build that know, like, trust factor. So
Mhm.
again, you can do it by becoming a guest. Again, as you mentioned, targeting other podcasts that share your audience.
Mhm.
What happens? It's just magical. When you're talking to these other people, it's called transference of credibility, right? Just the fact that both expert yourself as and the host are experts talking to the audience, you're sharing each other's audiences, and you're really transferring that credibility piece. So that's critical when you're looking at going on to being a guest on podcasts. Understand what their audience is, understanding the messages, make sure it aligns with what you want. Very powerful strategy. Again, the next phase that I find is working tremendously well, and you know this, it's being your own host for your own video podcast. Okay, again, it's established authority and trust. It's easy. You get positioned as the field, and the guests that you bring in. Again, it's still the concept of the shared audiences, but you keep bringing in enough guests, and the consistent piece on that is you as the host, and the quality of the questions, the quality of the podcast. You just get positioned as the thought leader, as the expert, and pretty much people when they're in the market to make that buying decision, they think back, and if you've got consistency enough, you're top of mind. So they think back, and obviously you're an expert top of mind. They're going to come to you. So that's very powerful.
You
Um,
know, that's interesting. I love that you talk about transference there, because sometimes people say, I don't know how to get my own audience. I don't know if I can create my own audience, but I love this idea of you can share right out of the gate. That's a great insight.
mhm. Yeah, you bet. You bet. The other is just enhanced audience engagement. So, video podcasting is dynamic, it's visual, it's a rich form of content that captivates audiences more effectively than text and audio alone. Right, the,
Mhm.
the video is taken over the world. Look at the TikTokification. I just made that up.
You heard it here, folks, first. TikTokification.
Feel free to use it. Just give me credit. Yeah, it's the so much content is just being flown at us with so much velocity that it's hard to keep on top of. So what that's part of that overwhelm. I read an interesting quote from Jerry Seinfeld, and he said, people's attention spans are not shrinking. Okay, they're not. What's shrinking is our tolerance of information that doesn't is not valuable to us. So if you're losing your audience, it's because you're boring. So be interesting,
Wah,
right?
wah, wah.
Oh, Jerry Seinfeld. So again, video is one of those mediums that is very, very powerful. Keeps attention, captures attention. It can be done in long form. It can be done in short form. It can be repurposed for different platforms. It's just so powerful. And again, all that means it gives you expanded reach and accessibility. So you never know when your message is going to come across. Like you mentioned earlier, we did this show almost 3 years ago, and people are still coming back and commenting on it. So it's out there, it lives. Which beware of what you're putting out there. But
Okay, well, here's one final tip on this, because I'm going to tell you this. This is something that is going to help you with the overwhelm question. Here's a laser coaching moment. You need when you think about the right visibility, what do you want to be known for? I want you to be thinking about, what do you still want to be talking about 5 years from now? Because this podcast will live 5 years from now. Will this be still a relevant conversation? Well, I still have the passion for helping you, our audience, amplify our marketing message and create more impact. If you want to get laser focused, what do you stand for? What do you still want to be talking about in 5 years? And how will you build the right strategy to be the must hire, to be the expert, and to be the thought leader around that topic? That's what Greg and I can help you with, because that's what the two of us do in tandem. Greg, how do people find you, learn more about your services?
You know what? I mean, I'm easy to find. You can go to topdogsales.ca. Through there, you can simply find me on my LinkedIn profile, Twitter. You can use the old-fashioned method is to give me a call, 403-703-7944. I'm so old school. Even, you know what? Write me a letter. That's
I will write you that letter. I love a handwritten letter. Guys, it's been amazing to collaborate with my friend here, Greg Belanger. This is it. This is another episode of Amplify Your Marketing Message. And we're talking about not just visibility, but getting the right visibility to propel your business. Go amplify your marketing message. Be sure to subscribe for future episodes. And until next time, connect to Greg, go check out that show, and start building your visibility blueprint. We'll see you all on our next episode. Take care.